everyone, welcome back to a new video. So I've been asked several times to give a recipe for the drying scale effect, and as you know, I normally never have a recipe. Recently I really start to figure out what exactly I'm doing, because normally I just go with the flow with most of my pours. So I have some clear resin here, and I used the Ultracast resin. I mixed it and I didn't let it set. I just began to mix my colors. So the first color here is the low-res Cranberry, and it's a resin tint. And I added, in total, you will see it, I add later on a little bit more drops, 18 drops. So I wanted to mix something transparent, and you can see it's very transparent still. And I thought, so I added now another 8 drops. So in total, I have 18 drops of the Cranberry. And I stir this very well. And it's a beautiful color, but for me it was still a little bit too light. So I thought I add a little bit or 1 drop of the Praline, a resin ink from Etter-Art, to have a little bit a darker but warm red tone. So this is what I'm doing now. Yeah, it's for me sometimes difficult because I'm a person, I just don't like to measure and to also, like for the 3D blooms, to measure temperature. Yeah, that's me. I just challenge always. I always challenge myself by not having the recipe. So this is why I figured out for some people to have a recipe how I'm doing my drying scale effect. So I made a mess with the gold, and this is the Sahara gold dust, and it's a very light Pearlescent mica powder. It's really very light, and Petra Jungblut said to me, just make sure you use enough of it so it gets heavy enough. So yeah, that's what I've done. And between you and me, maybe I did a little bit too much, but I'm not sure. So we will see at the end. I just make sure I stir this very well. I mean, there was a lot of mica now in there, and as you saw maybe before, I made a mess. My jar just fell luckily on my table, and I had all the mica on my table, so I needed to clean it up later. And here I have the ruby red pigment, and it's a little bit sort of metallic pigment. So I thought I'm not using as much as for the gold. And maybe I should have used a tiny bit more, but with mica powders, you just need to figure it out. But like I said, you will see at the end. I also stir this very well. For the gold and the red, I used for each 150 grams of resin. What I didn't mention at the beginning, I mixed up in total 750 grams of resin. And now I can take care for my white, and I'm using the interference pearl. So I have a little bit of the interference pearl, and I go with 8 drops of the pigment drops. And this is for my white. And I'm using the pigment drops because I always think when you use a little bit of this white, it makes your crackle effect a little bit more clear. And when you just use mica powders, it's, because of the powders, a little bit more blurred. Does this make sense? I hope it does. And this is how I pour the drying scale effect. There's gonna come also another video with coasters where I just use mica powder, so you can see the difference. But this is for the next couple of weeks or something that I'm doing it. I make sure that I stir everything very well again, that I don't have any particles in my resin piece, and then I can start pouring. So everything is mixed. I can take my mold, and I'm using the round disc mold from MoldsandShapes, and it's the XL form. So you see it's quite big, and I don't have the whole mold in camera, so I'm sorry, there's just a little bit missing, but I think you can see what I'm doing. And also, yeah, excuse me for the mess on my table, but this is what's happening. And when you are, when you are artist and when you are working and having, a hobby like this, I guess with a lot of people, it's a mess. So I first poured my cranberry around the edge. I tried to be rather evenly. Then I put a clear layer of resin into the middle, and I let the clear resin touch a little bit the cranberry, and I make sure that the bottom of my mold is quite covered. I also take care for the air bubbles, and then I can start pouring. I will be starting with the gold because last time the gold was gone when I did a dragon scale effect. So I thought I start with the gold, and look at this gold tone. It's very beautiful. And now I just take the red on top, and then I take my white mix. So, and then I just use a little bit of clear resin, not too much. And then I'm repeating what I've done. The gold, it's a beautiful gold tone, and also the red tone is very beautiful. Here the red, and again the white. Yeah, there was something at the sides I needed to take care of, and now the white. And then again some clear resin, and then I do a final row, a final puddle. I try to be very accurate with my rings because I like it when it's really in shape. So you see towards the end the puddles are a little bit smaller than they were at the beginning. Here's the red again. It's a wonderful red, and it's beautiful for Christmas. So I'm looking forward for the Christmas ornaments to come. And now I just use clear resin again on top of my white, and then I can take care for my center, and you can already see at the edge what nice effect the gold and the clear resin does. So I'm of course hoping that all my mica powders will travel to the edges, so that I also have a nice blending with the reddish tone, with the cranberry tone. And yeah, I'm very curious how this is going to turn out. I also take here some clear resin, which is still in my jar for my glitter mix, and I have the Hypnotic Red. It's the chameleon glitter from Etter-Art, and I thought it matches perfectly with these colors. So this is what I'm doing here. I just put it into the center of the mold, and you can see where I can put my glitter. And yeah, I think it's quite in the center. And now there's a time lapse where you can see how the resin is moving to the center and creating all these striations. And yeah, I'm very curious how this is going to turn out. Anyway, so after I stopped the time lapse, I just thought I'd give you a close-up how it's looking now, and the resin really worked quite well. I poured my my whole tray only like half full or 3/4, because maybe I want to make a bow later, but this I won't show you in this video because it was more about the dragon scale effect. Anyway, time for demolding. It's the next day, and you see how rich the color is looking. And I wonder how the shading is on the other side. So just have a look and look at my mold. It's dirty, but it's already 3 years old, I think. And let's have a look. And look at this. I really love it, even though the gold took over, but you cannot see it here. It has this reddish into the gold. You will see it later in my final result video, where you can see a reddish gold, and this is what I adore. First I thought, oops, my red is gone, but you can see it in shadings in the gold, and this is what I like. I like that you see the different rings, and I'm very happy with this pour. So you see the draying scale effect is not very difficult. In fact, draying scale effect is also a crackle effect, like so many effects. And yeah, I really love it, and I'm very happy with the result. The center looks almost like a flower, which I like. And yeah, please let me know if you would shape a bowl from this. If so, yeah, just let me know if you want to see in one of my videos the result of the bowl. But with this, and where you see the rich tone of the whole tray, I love and leave you. I thank you for watching, and take care, guys. Bye bye.